I would rather have been killed by that beast than saved by a half-breed.
The story begins in ancient Japan, in a land called Akko, where feudal lords still rule with absolute power. One day, a group of samurai bring in a strange young boy named Kai. No one knows where he came from, and his unusually pale skin makes the people suspicious. Many believe he could be a ghost or something cursed, and they want him thrown out of the land.
My lord, it is a demon.
However, the ruler of Akko, Lord Asano, decides that the boy will stay. Asano's daughter Mika is curious about Kai, and the two quickly form a bond that turns into a quiet friendship. Kai grows up in Asano's land, always treated as an outsider. The people never fully accept him, yet he remains grateful for Lord Asano's mercy and Mika's kindness. One day, a terrifying creature begins threatening the region, a massive beast with 6 eyes, powerful enough to send horses flying through the air. A group of hunters sets out to stop it. But things go wrong when a samurai named Yasano drops his sword and becomes trapped in front of the monster. Risking his own life, Kai steps in and kills the beast, saving Yasano and returning his fallen sword. Instead of gratitude, Yasano reacts with disgust, saying it would have been better if he had died than be saved by someone he considers impure. When the other samurai arrive, they assume Yasano killed the beast, and he silently accepts the praise. As Kai leaves, he notices a strange white fox watching him closely, its 2 eyes different colors. At the same time, in the neighboring land of Nagato, that same fox appears before Lord Kira and transforms into a beautiful woman. She is revealed to be Kira's spy, reporting that their plan to eliminate Lord Asano has failed. When the hunters return, Mika greets her father and checks if he is injured. Asano jokingly asks if she is worried about someone special. It soon becomes clear why killing the 6-eyed beast was so important. An upcoming Shogun tournament is approaching, an event of great honor where everything must be perfect. Asano praises Mika for her efforts, telling her that her mother would have been proud.
Mother would have been proud.
That night, Mika secretly visits Kai, who is badly wounded, and tends to his injuries. She brings up Yasuno, mentioning the shame she saw in his eyes while everyone praised him. Kai understands that she knows the truth, but he asks her to leave, saying he does not want trouble. He admits that he will always care for her, yet reminds her that their worlds are not the same. The day of the Shogun Festival arrives with great celebration. Among the guests is a mysterious woman who looks familiar. She has the same mismatched eyes as the fox Kai saw before. Feeling uneasy, Kai warns Oishi that there may be a sorceress among them, unknown to them. Oishi's son Chikara overhears the conversation. Oishi questions Kai, reminding him that only demons can see a witch's true form, and asks how Kai could possibly know such a thing.
Are you a demon? No.
Then I suggest you are simply bewitched by a beautiful girl.
The next day, Lord Kira arrives at the festival and speaks politely with Lord Asano, though both men clearly despise each other beneath the surface. Kira mockingly comments on Mika, calling her a fine concubine. Furious, Asano snaps back, demanding respect and making it clear she is his daughter. After the formal performances, it is time for the ceremonial duel between the two lands. Kira's champion proves to be incredibly skilled, impressing everyone, taunting Mika. Kira says he is sure her father's chosen warrior will be just as strong. However, confidence quickly fades when Asano's champion is revealed to be Yasuno, the man everyone believes killed the 6-eyed beast. Just before the fight, Yasuno encounters the fox woman again, and something about him seems off, almost broken. When Chikara goes to summon him, Yasuno appears unfit to fight. Kai urges them to choose someone else, but it is too late. If their warrior does not appear, Asano will be publicly humiliated. The rules allow only one samurai to fight, but samurai fight wearing masks. Because the warrior would would be hidden behind a mask, no one could tell whether the fighter was Yasano or not. The crowd grew restless as they waited. Finally, the shogun asked his servant to question Lord Asano about the delay. Just then, the warrior of Akko finally appeared. His entrance was nowhere near as impressive as his opponent's, but the people were relieved that he had at least shown up. That relief did not last long. Lord Kira's champion completely dominated him. With a single strike of an arrow, the warrior's mask was knocked off, and the crowd froze in shock. The shogun immediately stopped the fight and stepped forward. At a glance, he realized that Kai was not a samurai. He ordered Kira's warrior to kill him on the spot. Mika panicked and rushed in front of Kai to protect him. Lord Asano immediately apologized and took full responsibility for what had happened. He told the shogun that if punishment was required, it should fall on him alone. The shogun accepted and left the final judgment to the law. That same evening, Kira met with the sorceress, who explained her plan to seize full control of Akko. She said the timing was perfect, as Asano was already under tremendous pressure. Using her magic, she summoned a spider, one with many eyes. Once again, it was revealed to be the same terrifying six-eyed creature. The spider crawled close to Asano and stung him with its poison, leaving him gravely ill. When Asano awoke, he hallucinated that Kira was attacking Mika. In a desperate attempt to save his daughter, he grabbed his sword. Though the illusion existed only in his mind, the attack he made on Kira was very real and witnessed by everyone. Samurai rushed in to stop him, while Kira pretended to be an innocent victim. For attacking a guest, Asano was sentenced to death. However, due to his honor and status, he was granted the right to carry out the punishment himself. Asano told Oishi that this fate was better than public execution. Oishi argued that it was unjust, insisting Asano had been controlled by dark magic, but Asano was focused only on protecting his family's honor. Asano went to say goodbye to Mika, telling her not to cry or show weakness to the world. He then walked with Oishi to the place where his sentence would be carried out. Oishi prepared the blade for him. Kai was still recovering from his injuries, while the rest of the samurai stood by and witnessed Asano's death. Many wanted immediate revenge, but Oishi warned that starting a war would put innocent villagers and farmers in danger. A warrior's duty, he said, was to protect everyone, not just seek vengeance. Mika approached the shogun and declared that, as Asano's only daughter, she would govern the land until she was married. What she did not know was that everything had already been decided. Lord Kira was named the new ruler of Akko. Mika was granted 1 year to mourn, after which she would be forced to marry Kira. The shogun then declared that Oishi and the remaining warriors were no longer samurai. They were now Ronin, masterless warriors, and were forbidden from seeking revenge. Once in power, Kira immediately expelled the Ronin from the land, announcing that any who returned would be killed.
From this moment on, you are banished from these lands. Those who remain will be hunted down.
Mika was devastated, but her suffering was not over. Kai was dragged forward in chains. Kira cruelly told Mika to look at him one last time, because she would never see him again. He then ordered his men to deal with Oishi, whom he did not trust. Oishi was thrown into prison, where he remained for an entire year. On a stormy night, he was dragged out and left broken in the rain. His wife and son found him and brought him warm food. His wife explained that all their people had fled Akko, and that Mika had been taken to the palace for marriage preparations, as her year of mourning was nearly over. Oishi asked what had happened to Kai. Chikara told him that Kai had been sold far away into slavery. After learning everything, Oishi stood up and demanded 3 horses immediately. His wife tried to stop him, but Oishi told her to tell the world that they were divorced. Some tasks, he said, were too important to abandon. "This is the only way I can save you," Oishi said before saying goodbye. He gave Chikara a few final instructions, took a horse, and rode off. After a long search, he finally found Kai, but the sight broke his heart. Kai was in terrible condition, forced to fight brutally for the entertainment of drug addicts. Oishi entered the fighting ring himself, pretending to be a challenger, because it was the only way he could get close enough to speak to Kai. But after a year of constant torture, Kai had become nothing more than a fighting machine. His mind was so broken that he no longer recognized Oishi at all. Oishi kept shouting his name, telling him to look carefully, but Kai continued to attack, without hesitation, as if only his body was alive while his soul was already dead. Everything changed the moment Oishi spoke Mika's name. That single word brought Kai back to reality. Together, they created an escape plan and fought their way out, dodging bullets as they fled. Once they were far enough away, they finally talked. Their relationship was no longer the same. Kai was no longer the quiet, obedient boy he once was. He had become sharp-tongued, angry, and hardened by pain. Oishi admitted that he should have believed Kai about the sorceress from the beginning. Lord Kira had destroyed their master through deception. Oishi now needed Kai's help, and after spending a year in prison himself, his way of thinking had changed. He now treated Kai with respect rather than authority. Soon after, a messenger arrived at Kira's palace carrying news from the Dutch islands. He reported that the warrior Kira had sold had escaped with the help of a samurai. Furious, Kira ordered the sorceress to locate Oishi as soon as possible. He wanted Oishi completely eliminated. Meanwhile, Kai and Oishi reached a pond where Chikara was waiting. Chikara had gathered all of Oishi's remaining men there and revealed his plan. He warned them clearly that this plan went directly against the shogun's orders, meaning anyone who joined would likely not survive for long. The moment he announced that their goal was to kill Lord Kira, the men erupted in cheers. Every single one of them agreed to follow the plan. They knew Kira's fortress was heavily guarded, so the first step was finding out when Kira would travel to his temple. They would also need more men and more swords. Oishi assigned these tasks to different groups. At one point, a man lost his temper and tried to attack Kai, shouting that he was not a samurai. Oishi stopped him and replied calmly that none of them were samurai anymore. They were all Ronin now.
Why is the half-breed here?
I asked him to come.
We can't take him with us. He's not a samurai.
None of us are samurai anymore.
After that, each group went their separate way. Soon, Oishi and Kai arrived at a place called Yutsu, a village once famous for swordsmiths. It felt like a ghost town. Not a single person was in sight. When they encountered a few soldiers, Oishi claimed they were just farmers looking to buy tools. The soldiers replied that the village now belonged to Lord Kira. Noticing Chikara's hands, they said those were not the hands of a farmer. Kai immediately realized what was about to happen and attacked without hesitation. He killed the soldiers so quickly that the survivors were left terrified. The men began collecting the fallen soldiers' swords. It was now clear that Kira controlled the entire region, and weapons would not be found so easily. That was when Kai revealed his secret to Oishi. He said they could find weapons in the Tengu forest, where he had grown up among spirits and demons. He swore that he would never use the magic given to him there. Oishi disliked the talk of spirits, but he had no other choice. Revenge had to be taken at any cost. At that moment, one of their men arrived with news about Kira's next journey. However, he soon became distracted by a beautiful woman with strangely colored eyes and lingered behind. Meanwhile, Oishi's men carefully entered the forest. When they asked about the northern path, Kai warned them that spirits lived there. Oishi and Kai then entered a dark cave alone, while the others stayed outside. Too many people entering together would anger the spirits. Kai warned Oishi that no matter what happened, he must not draw his sword under any circumstances. Outside the cave, the Ronin began whispering among themselves. They could not understand why Oishi trusted Kai so completely. After some discussion, they decided they did not trust him at all. Fearing that Kai might lead Oishi to his death, they chose to enter the cave as well, even though they had been strictly warned not to. Inside, Kai went alone into an inner chamber. Soon, a strange-looking man appeared before him. The two spoke about the outside world and how people like Kai were treated with hatred. Kai spoke of being called impure blood, rejected everywhere without ever doing anything wrong. But in the world of spirits, he had never been mistreated. There, he had finally been accepted. Outside the inner chamber, Oishi was shocked by the hatred he saw in his own men's eyes. Everyone looked confused and tense. Suddenly, Yasano drew his sword for no clear reason, triggering a strange and chaotic fight. Inside Oishi's mind, a voice kept repeating the same command: draw your sword and save your men. Restless and desperate, Oishi tried to help without using his blade, but one by one, his men kept falling. At that moment, Kai demanded the sword embedded between them. The spirit agreed, but placed a condition. Kai had to grab it before the spirit could. Both leapt through the air toward the blade, but Kai was faster. The spirit smiled, pleased to see that Kai still possessed the same speed and strength. Meanwhile, in the other chamber, everything turned upside down, only to be revealed as an illusion. Oishi's men had never truly entered the cave. This entire vision was a test of Oishi's faith and resolve. When Kai returned, he carried multiple swords with him. All the Ronin regrouped outside the forest. Isogai arrived with urgent news that Lord Kira would be leaving his fortress that very night. Oishi accepted the message, but failed to notice that Isogai's eyes had become strangely clouded. Chikara wanted to join the fight, but his father refused, leaving him behind with an elderly man. As night fell, the Ronin quietly entered the trap they had prepared. A tall, long-haired figure was seen praying, waiting only for Oishi to arrive. Suddenly, the figure turned around. It was the sorceress. With a single gesture, flames erupted around them. Many were killed, and several Ronin were badly wounded. Inside the fortress, the sorceress handed Lord Kira a sword and revealed that it once belonged to Oishi. She then mocked Mika, explaining how she had single-handedly wiped out the remaining forces loyal to her father. During this exchange, the sorceress deliberately left a dagger near Mika, unknowingly planting an idea in her mind.
I promised, my lord, I would not harm a hair on your head. But what you do to yourself is not my concern. Good night.
Back at the Ronin camp, the truth became clear. The sorceress had been wrong. Many were injured, but most had survived. Oishi admitted his mistake. They had waited too long. Now, revenge had to be taken immediately, win or lose. Even if they died, they would die with honor. Kai then pointed out that their mission was not over. In fact, they now had a major advantage. Kira believed them all to be dead, and with his departure scheduled for the morning, they had one final opportunity to strike. As they moved out, Kai recognized a traveling theater troupe. The same performers had visited the region before. When questioned, the actors claimed they were heading to perform at Lord Kira's wedding. That was when the Ronin formed a new plan, fully aware that this mission could be their last. Knowing they might never return, they wrote down their story so future generations would understand what they had done and why. Everyone signed it, including Kai. He was no longer an outsider. Yasano finally confessed in front of everyone that Kai, not him, had killed the six-eyed beast. Though late, his apology mattered. He also revealed that a samurai always carries two swords and handed Kai the second blade. That night, a massive celebration began. Kira's fortress was packed with guards. The theater troupe was allowed inside, and no one noticed as Kai and Oishi slipped in among them. Soon, Mika was brought before Kira, dressed in wedding robes, and the performance began. While the audience focused on the stage, the Ronin climbed the fortress walls and silently eliminated the guards one by one. Each time a guard fell, another Ronin took his place, making it seem as though nothing had happened. The crowd cheered at the fire performance, unaware of the slaughter unfolding behind the scenes. The sorceress soon sensed something was wrong. Disguised, Oishi performed on stage, distracting the crowd. Elsewhere, a mistake was made. While killing 3 guards, one managed to fire an arrow that grazed Oishi's arm. His attempt to strike Kira failed. Kira's men quickly shielded him and Mika, escorting them away under heavy protection. The Ronin pursued, but the fortress had already turned into a battlefield. Kai fought alone, cutting down enemies with terrifying efficiency. Kira sent his most dangerous warrior to stop the Ronin. Fear spread instantly. Everyone knew how powerful he was. But one Ronin hurled a burning explosive into the weapons room. The blast was massive, killing Kira's champion instantly. At the same time, the sorceress transformed and escaped into the air. Seeing her chance, Mika grabbed the hidden dagger from her wedding robe and attacked Kira. When she realized she couldn't kill him, she fled. The fortress was now fully consumed by war. Every Ronin fought with everything they had. Soon, Kai and Mika found each other. Kai told her that nothing could separate them anymore.
Nothing will ever keep me away from you.
But before they could escape, the sorceress returned, transforming into a massive dragon. Kai stood his ground, declaring that he was not afraid. The dragon attacked with fire, but Kai used the special sword to block every strike and counter relentlessly. Elsewhere, only a thin wall separated Oishi and Kira. They smashed through it and engaged in a brutal duel, evenly matched in strength and skill. During the fight with the dragon, Kai lost his sword, but when the creature lunged toward Mika, Kai unleashed his hidden power, summoned the blade, and delivered a devastating strike. The dragon crashed to the ground, slowly reverting back into the sorceress. The blow was fatal, and she died moments later. Inside the fortress, Oishi defeated Kira and finally severed his head, ending the war once and for all. With Kira dead, his soldiers surrendered immediately. All 47 Ronin returned to Akko with Princess Mika. They placed their swords at Lord Asano's grave, and Oishi declared that their revenge was complete. In the end, Mika confessed her love to Kai, and at last, the bond between them was fulfilled.
I gave you a command forbidding you to take revenge. You should all be executed as common criminals.
Your Highness.